Greetings, listeners. Welcome to Consulting Between Friends. I'm your host, Michael Holmes Jr. There are all sorts of sporting competitions. In today's episode, we will be focusing on bodybuilding. The National Physique Committee is a competition that focuses on athlete bodies. Have you ever wondered what it takes to become a bodybuilder? Well, I have a special guest, William Holmes. He recently won this competition and he is happy to discuss his experience and how he was able to win the gold. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of Consulting Between Friends right after this short break. Everyone is always planning things, and advertising is needed to make it happen. So, if it's personal or business, let Pinpoint Designs and Images solve that problem. With Pinpoint Designs and Images LLC, you will receive quality work and professional service at a great price. The service that is offered: flyers, business cards, programs, invitations, photo books, ad booklets, and much more. Michael Holmes Jr., owner/principal designer of Pinpoint Designs and Images LLC, contact me by email or social media. Email address is pinpointdesignsandImages@gmail.com, and Instagram Pinpoint Designs, and Facebook Pinpoint Designs and Images. We are back. Before the interview begins, this competition took place in Reno, Nevada on May 15, 2021. This competition is called NPC Motherload. Before interviewing my cousin William, he told me his goals, which are to become pro in the sport and make it to the Olympics. Welcome to Consulting Between Friends. And my guest for today is William. How you doing today, William?
I'm doing good. And yourself?
I'm doing fine. How's your family doing?
Family is doing great. Everybody's enjoying life, just trying to survive this end of apocalypse, which I call this COVID situation.
Yeah, that is true. Everybody's going through the same thing. But I believe we all going to do fine through it. I see you won a competition, so we're about to get ready and talk about that. But before we go ahead into that, I would like you to give a brief description about the competition overall that you participated in.
Okay, so the competition that I competed in was a national bodybuilding show. Basically, it takes time. There's different sides of it. They have the natural side of bodybuilding world. Then there's the NPC side, which is more recognized worldwide, to where you can compete. And once you get to the pro level, you can actually make it to the Olympia and start competing for money.
Oh, that sounds really good. So how you found out about it in the first place?
So bodybuilding is something I've always paid attention to, even in my younger years. The first time I competed was back in 2017. I took the time that I needed to compete. My first show that I actually competed in was in Alaska, in Anchorage, Alaska.
Yes, Alaska. So how was Alaska when you was out there?
Cold, very cold. It got down to negative 27 one day, and I was like, I'm not going anywhere. Just give me a blanket, and I'm going to sit in front of the fireplace all day.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Well, since you gave a brief description to our listeners, I'm about to start with the first question. When did you decide to compete for this competition?
Um, when was it? It was last year and maybe August, I want to say. I was just looking up shows that I wanted to get into, and I had to space out the time wise. That way I can be physically ready for the competition. So I took about 6 months of prep for me to get to the point that I wanted to be for the competition. So everything came in pretty good. What I would say, normally when you're bodybuilding, you don't want to take that much time to train to go into a competition. Basically, like the longest that you would possibly, I would say, is 8 to 12 weeks. That would be like best time or best prep time so you can get on stage. But if you're like a person that has excess weight and not a lot of muscle, then it takes a longer period of time to get your body in the state that you need it to be. So you have to train your muscles, train every body part so you can grow that muscle so you can be so you can bring the best package on stage.
Well, that sounds about right for people who's trying to get to this level. And I like how you explained it to our listeners, because I know they're going to have a lot of people that might be wondering about it. And most likely, they might want to consider becoming a bodybuilder in this competition. How did you train for this competition? And what was your diet for maintaining your physique?
That's a good question. So my diet consisted of a lot of lean meat. So chicken, turkey, fish, um, and on occasion steaks. Um, Basically, a person that's training to do anything in bodybuilding, first we have to figure out where they are. So everybody's body is different. It takes a different amount of protein, carbs, and fats for everybody because everybody bodies operate differently. So for me, I like rice and peanut butter. So everything that I would necessarily have is chicken, like the chicken breast because it's a leaner cut. I would normally eat 6 ounces of that with either a half a cup of carbs or maybe like 1/3 of carbs. It all depends on how your body works with that carb. And your fats, we don't use a lot of fats, so I don't cook with a lot of oils and other fat products. And like I will use like a what is it the PAM to spray on the pans to cook my
Mhm.
food in. That way we're not using a lot of fats. And I don't eat peanut butter a lot. It's like my go-to um, cheat source, basically, because it's sweet and it cures my craving for sugar. So when I get to have peanut butter or something like that, I'm like, oh yes, I get to have a treat. But and when you're cooking your food, you have to be very cautious of how you cook it. So I don't use any salt. I use all unsalted products. So I would use like a Mrs. Dash products because there's no salt or sodium in any of it. And yeah, so like garlic or onion powder and other things like that. That way you can season your food.
Well, I like how you basically explain like how you go ahead and prep your meals, because I realize that's important to get to this level because it takes a lot of effort and you also have to have a lot of willpower. And I realize you have that with maintaining your diet because diet is key to weightlifting and bodybuilding, which I realize. And you did go ahead and explain how you eat and protein. So, since you mentioned protein, what you would suggest to somebody who have, oh, because some people have like gluten-free issues.
For like gluten-free options, I'm not a big person on like as far as the nutrition side of it. So I have somebody that I work with my nutrition. Um, Gluten wise, I would be sitting here lying and saying that I knew every product out there that has gluten in it or this, that, and the third. But for the most part, I'm pretty sure people that stay away from gluten can have chicken still, so it's not a
Mhm.
problem. Like it's the protein source. Gluten is basically, from my understanding, comes from a lot of bread and carby foods, right?
Mhm. Yes.
Okay, so that's a good thing because in this line of work, you still have to intake your carbs, but it's how can I put this? It's a healthy type of carb.
Mhm.
So like rice cakes, there are gluten-free rice cakes. I've seen that. And like jasmine rice or white rice, any type of grain, like a good carb is quinoa.
Oh yeah,
You
I
can
love
use that.
quinoa.
Yeah, so you can use that as your carb source. Ezekiel bread, and like you don't have to put in. excess amount of carbs, depending on what you're trying to obtain or gain in that aspect. The point that you're trying to get to or achieve, then a lot of carbs won't necessarily be good. So if we're trying to build a lot of muscle within a long period of time, then we will eat more carbs. But if you're at the point to where you're trying to trim down, then we want to start backing away from a lot of carbs and focus mainly on our proteins, our fats, and our veggies.
So, what kind of vegetables do you enjoy eating?
None. I hate vegetables. I, I do not like vegetables. It got to the point so bad that I couldn't take the smell of broccoli anymore. Like, never was a big fan of broccoli in the first place. My wife used to look at me because I would eat my broccoli with ketchup. She was like, "What type of person eats veggies with ketchup?" I'm like, it had to go down some type of way. But for this last prep, I made it easier on myself. So every time I had to eat veggies, I would blend my veggies in water. So we have this little Nutri blender. It's like the single blend. I would
Yes.
put the amount of veggies that I needed for that portion of the meal with some water, and I would blend it up. And I would just drink my veggies because it was easier for me to ingest.
Well, that sounds good. Since you mentioned about blending, what protein are you on to keep up your regimen?
So right now, all my protein is all meats. Like it's no liquid form right now. But when I was in prep, I used the wheat protein. And basically that just helps revitalize your muscles. So it's still a meal replacement and it still has carbs in it. Then you don't have to worry about the fats, the sugars. Even if you're a vegan, they have vegan proteins out there. So it's always something that you can use to get that meal in or that protein source in. And I would tell anybody like if you're on prep and you're eating or you're traveling, this is the big one. So if you're traveling, it's always good to keep like a container or a cooler with either your meals or your protein shakes. That way you could drink it instead of, finding a quick fix along the way, like a little McDonald's or something like that, that you're going to
Mm.
eat and mess up your diet.
Yeah, that makes sense because really, when you travel, you are with low options. So I do
Yeah.
like that suggestion you came up with. So you was at the competition. You realized you was competing with a lot of other different people. So what kept you motivated to accomplish your goal of winning the competition?
Everybody wants to win. That's what motivated me. I'm like, as long as the time that anybody put in, we wake up early in the morning, we go to the gym, we make sure we're eating right. It's so much work and dedication that you have to put in, and nobody wants to feel like I've done all this work to not want to win, to not want to come in first. So that's everybody's priority. That's everybody's mindset. I want to win. I've done all this work just to get to this point, just so I can fail and be happy. No, it don't work like that. So that the whole drive and the prep itself, if you're real competitive, then you're waking up extra early in the morning. You're up before anybody else can even think about waking up, and you're in the gym. So I was in the gym like in the morning. I'll wake up. I'll go to the gym. I'm in the gym for at least 4 hours. I be working so hard I lose track of time.
So that's your regular regimen that you usually do?
Yeah. So I'll wake up. For best, like a lot of people work out different. So you'll see people that go to the gym early in the morning just to do their cardio, fasted, which means you work out empty. Like there's no food in you because that helps cut the fat faster in your body. If you're not full on junk food or anything like that, or even food in general, it helps break down the fat in your body and you lose weight faster. And then they will leave, go home and eat. And then you will see them come back to the gym so they can work out again. This way, this time they're running off of food. They're not burning through their muscle because they don't have any food on them. And that's why people double back. Me, on the other hand, I can do everything fasted. Like I can go to the gym, work out fasted, do my cardio, and then still weight train at the same time and still feel like I'm not losing that much muscle. Um, how can I put this? Let's see. There's a carber source. So just like there's protein out there, there's a carber. And all you do is just add it to water. That way, if you're working out and you haven't eaten, that carber source is just going to act as if you ate a meal and it's going to feed off of that. That way, you're not burning your muscles while you're working out.
Oh, I like that tip because when I used to work out in the gym, I was one of those that had to go home and eat first, and then go exercise next.
So I tell a lot of people, it all depends on how you feel and how you work out. Because a lot of people, once you're in training and you get into prep, and your diet change, you're going to feel a big difference. You're going to feel drained mentally. You're going to feel like you can't push as much weight, like your strength isn't there anymore because of the way that you changed your diet. I never believed that. I always believed that if I go to the gym, no matter what I'm on, either if I'm working out empty or I'm working out with food or working out and I don't have that many carbs in me to help me get through my workout, my thing is it's all mental. If I start thinking in that mindset that I can't do it because I'm not eating that much or I'm not eating the food that was helping me before, then I've already lost. So I keep a mindset that whatever I put on the bar, I'm going to work and I'm going to lift it, and I still do it. So I don't see the fat in that portion that I need to eat before I go and work out, just so I can keep my strength. So to each his own.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Well, since I know when you exercise a lot, you do burn a lot of energy. So one thing is, what keep you hydrated?
I drink water. Yeah, like water is my everyday thing. I'll drink water no matter what. I got so used to drinking water. I don't like really drinking sodas or juice or anything like that because for one, sodas, as soon as they get into my body, I start cramping. I don't like it. And as far as juices and things of that nature, when you drink juice, you always have to think about the fats, or not the fats, but the sugar content, because sugar turns instantly into fat. So if I'm sitting around drinking juice all day, then guess what? I'm putting a whole lot of excess sugar in my body. And then the next day, when you look at yourself, you're like, oh, why is this? I'm getting a little fat. It's because of all the sugars and salts and everything else that we put in our bodies. So we have to watch and maintain everything that goes in. I had a conversation with a guy in the gym today, and he was like, well, I don't eat that much, but I don't eat good either. But he was like, shouldn't that kind of combat itself since I'm only eating once or twice a day? And I kind of explained to him, I said, I want you to think about it this way. Body is a living organism. Like it lives. Just because, we live and we have our own mind, let's say our body has our own mind too. So your body starts to operate off of you, how you live your day-to-day life. Let's say I wake up in the morning, I may eat one time. And then, throughout the day while at work, I might not even think about it. 3 hours later, I might eat a little snack, a bag of chips or something like that. And then later on, I might eat a burger or nothing healthy, mind you. Nothing healthy. It's all fat. But you thinking that since I didn't eat that many times in a day, I'm not doing bad. I'm still healthy. But what your body is really doing when you go that long period of time not eating, your body is functioning off of the fat content that you put in your body. So your body is like, okay, so we have his schedule down. We're going to eat one time in the morning, and then 5 hours later, we're going to eat something else. It's not going to be good, but that's the time he's going to eat. He or she is going to eat. So your body is going to do this. Your body is going to take everything that you eat in the morning and it's going to store it. So if you look at a person and you look at their body structure and you're like, okay, he's big in the mid area, or somebody has a big butt or big breast, and they're like, I can't lose this weight. It's because your body is storing the food that you're putting into it. So in the morning, it's going to take all that food and it's going to store it in different pockets in your body. So it's going to be in your love handles, your butt, your breast, because your body is like, this person is not going to eat until another 5 hours. Instead of the body breaking down and you're tired because you don't have any food in you, the body is going to eat off the fat that is stored throughout your body. So it's going to pick and choose where you want to eat from. That way you can have the energy to get through the day. And the next time you eat, all it's going to do is restore more fat into your body. And that's why people are overweight.
That was a good explaining because I was kind of wondering that myself. And I know some people might be wondering that as well. So you explained that very well because that had me thinking. Because when you do eat, you'd be wondering like where the food goes if you don't exercise it off. You basically just explained it in a really good way. Since you also mentioned about bodybuilding and exercising, do you train people once in a while?
I train when I'm not on prep. So I would take a couple of clients and get them to where they need to be. But once I get them that person where they need to be to where I can guide them without too much hands on, I'll still coach them. But when I get to the time to where I'm starting prep for my competition, I would take the time off and stop training. Well, not stop training, but not take on more clients, but continue with the people that I have on hand until they're finished. Because I want to take the time for myself to do what I need to do. And I don't want to feel like I'm taking away from anybody else to make them feel like, oh, I'm not 100% with them. So I'll still train them and give them everything they need until, that training is done, and then I would take a time off from training.
Well, that's good. So, since you mentioned about the training different people, have you had to try to motivate some people to get to a level they're trying to get to?
Yeah, so it's motivation. It comes from a lot of different things. Your motivation can come from just being in that atmosphere or being around other people that have the same mindset as you. Like if you go in and work out with somebody that don't have the same mindset or the same intentions as you, then you're going to fall into that whole, you know, you're going to do just like them, basically. Um, Iron sharpens irons. The only way you can get better is if you're working with people around you that has the same goal in mind. If I go to the gym with somebody that's just there just because they want to go like 5 minutes or so, not just to do anything, but just to be that person that says, "Oh, I went to the gym today. I took a selfie and I walked out." 'Cause I see a lot of people that do that, and that's not the type of people that you want to go and work out with. You want to go to the gym with the same people that has the same intentions as you, and you'll see other people in the gym, and you'll get motivated because you'll be like, "Wow, I want to get there at some point." And then let's say once you get into training and then you see the progression of your own body, you'll be like, oh man, that's his motivation in itself. You just want to continue to get better and get better. Because once you start seeing that growth in yourself and every day you look in a mirror, then when you go to the kitchen or to the store and you be like, oh man, there's ice cream. And then some people actually pick it up and be like, oh yeah, this is coming home with me. And then that person in your mind would be like, man, I came too far to want to sit down and eat this to put more weight on. I'm working to a goal for a goal, and this ice cream is not going to get me where I want to be. So a lot of people have that strength in themselves, but sometimes a lot of people fall short, which we're all human. Um, we just have to work a little harder. And there's a lot of people that still have their cheat meals, which I still had a cheat meal. um, that way, that kills those cravings. That way, you're not always fiending or like, oh, I want to have this, I want to have that. So you put a cheat meal in there. That way, it actually helps you build more muscle for you to add to your muscles, and you can work it off. Because I know if I didn't have any cheat meals when I was going through, it'd have been a bad day for everybody. Yeah, eating chicken and fish every day and all day. You know, you need to break it up some kind of way.
So, since you mentioned cheat meals, so what are some of your cheat meals?
Um, at first, it was nachos. There's this Mexican bar right around the corner from the house. And nachos are like the best nachos that I've ever had. So it would always be nachos or pizza. But I've came to the point that I can make a healthy pizza. That way, it doesn't really feel like you're cheating. And to make a healthy pizza, I use the what is it, naan bread at Walmart, right in front of the deli. And then I get some pizza sauce, and I put like a tablespoon of pizza sauce on it with fat-free cheese and turkey breakfast sausage. Like low in fat. Um, that the naan bread itself is like 30 grams of carbs. It's not that much, and it's all under 600 grams of carbs, which is very hard to do, mind you. You have to count everything, like everything that goes into something when you're dieting. So you don't want to overdo it. So I had to sit there and calculate like how much meat I could put on it, how much sauce, and how much cheese. So I felt like I was a Mac wizard. I'm sitting up there like, yep, yep. Oh, I can have this, and then place. And it's a cheap meal, but at the same time, it was still real healthy, and I enjoyed it. So I didn't really have to go out there and get a actual pizza that had more fat content and more calories. I still had a cheap meal that satisfied my cravings.
And that is something good because a lot of people do have a lot of cravings, and that's how people turn to junk food, which that
Right.
is really bad in the first place. Um, well, we're gonna take this interview a little differently. I would like you to go ahead and discuss more about fitness, since I know you like to talk about fitness. But before we talk about fitness, since you have won the competition, I want to know how did it felt when you actually won?
Oh man, it felt great. I'm like when you're standing up there on stage with the other people that's up there with you, they work just as hard as you, and to know that you've done everything that you needed to do to get up there on stage and present the package that you worked so hard to achieve. It's amazing. It's like I can't even describe the feeling. Like it's real exhilarating because you're up there. There's people watching you all over. It's like people in the stand, and then there's people online watching you live. I had the fam watching me live because they couldn't make it due to COVID. And, it's awesome, man. It's real awesome. You get to sit backstage, and while you're backstage, this is it's real nerve wracking because everybody's back there. Everybody wants to pump up and get their muscles right before they get on stage, and you see everybody back there working their hardest. To mind you, I want to put this in perspective. Like we work out so much, like it takes weeks or months of training just for one day, maybe 30 seconds the first time, and then maybe 3 minutes. So it's no longer than that you're on stage. You have to present yourself and which side that you feel is the best, or which body part that you feel is better. And you have to display that to the judge. And you have to smile, you have to move. It's all a show that you have this limited amount of time to show your best qualities. And it's exhilarating. And just to sit on stage after all your work is done and take first place, it's amazing because out of 200 to 500 people, only a handful of people goes home winners. And that's a hard pill to swallow. And I didn't have to be that person to swallow that pill. So I'm happy.
Yeah, that was right. So, I know since there are a lot of people you was competing with, basically. So what's the different competitions that y'all compete with to get to that level?
Okay, so depending on what you want to do in the body or the fitness aspect of it, or an NPC show, there's different categories. So the category that I did was physique. Basically, it's like your swimsuit, beach look, pretty boy type thing. They don't want you to be too muscular, and everything has to be symmetry. So everything has to look right and feel right. So your legs can't be too big and your top half be small, and you're disproportionate. So everything has to be proportioned well. You have to look right. Um, Basically a pretty boy look type thing, but still muscular, but not too much of. Like it's crazy. It all depends on the judge or anybody that you have with you, because some people could be like, "Oh, you're too big for this category," or "You're not big enough." But then there's classic physique where they want you to be big. So people that's in physique that's big, that I feel like should be a bodybuilder or anything like that, they can move over to classic physique and be in that category because that's the ones that have the big legs, the big back, everything's just big about them. And then there's bodybuilding where they're excessively big. I wouldn't even say excessively big. It's just they're bigger than everybody else. Hell. So that's the three categories that men can do.
Well, I like how you explained all that because I didn't really understand too much about it really, but I knew this would be very interesting to learn. So I'm glad you explained it. But since you're really into fitness, and I know you also maybe have like a business on it, if you feel comfortable, I want to talk about different type of fitness that you do and with people. I would glad you to explain that.
Okay, so fitness as a whole, like no matter what you're trying to do, if I just want to be healthy and fit and lose a little weight, or I want to get to the point to where I can compete, everything all falls in line with the same thing. You have to have a nice diet, the workouts, everything falls into place. It's not just one thing. You have to have a great foundation first. So when I say great foundation, that just means your food because no matter how much we work out all day, 24/7, do as much cardio in the world. We can't outwork bad eating. So everything falls on your diet. How much protein you're eating, how much carbs you're eating, the fats that you're putting in your body, and uh, how much water you're drinking. Because water plays a big part. Um, so just to give you an idea, as far as your proteins and everything like that, you want to stick with lean cut meats, chicken breast, fish, turkey. 99% are hot. Well, that is the highest, but I would say a good 97 to 99% lean on any meats. And that would be great for you. And then your carbs. There's different type of carbs that everybody can eat. A lot of people like eating potatoes, sweet potatoes, rice, quinoa. That's all great carbs for you. You don't want to overdo your carbs. But an average person, I would say at least one third to a half a cup of rice if you're trying to lose weight. So every meal, just do like a third of rice. And then your veggies. The greener, the better. So the darker greener your veggies are, that's going to help you cut down the fat in your body. And the good thing about that is with vegetables, when you lose that weight, it helps the skin tighten up. So if you have saggy skin or you think that, I've been a big person all my life. So when I lose this weight, I'm going to have saggy skin. So vegetables kind of combat that in a way. And it can't fix everything. So where if you're excessively big and you start to cutting down and losing weight and you have a lot of saggy skin, then vegetables still won't do it for you. You might have to get surgery just to, tighten your skin up or bring it back to where you need to be. But if you can lose the weight and you want to get rid of the fat to where your skin is not that loose, but not that tight either, then you can eat a lot of dark green vegetables to tighten up your skin.
Oh, that sounds good. So, well, since you mentioned dark green vegetables, I know one that's on the list is spinach, and I love spinach. Um, that's really green.
So you can eat spinach, you can eat broccoli, asparagus, what is it? Cucumbers, zucchini, all of those veggies are good for you.
So, what fruits do you like eating?
Um, hmm, that's a hard one. I'm not really a big fruit eater, but if I would have to, I would eat bananas, and that's just for potassium.
Well, potassium is very important. Keeps you make sure you don't stay cramped up or get cramps.
Yeah, because the other day I was what was it? I did legs or something or arms, and then I got home, and then one of my arms cramped up on me, and my wife was like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "My arm locked up." I said, "I'm going to eat a banana." She was like, "It's too late to eat a banana now. You already cramped." I said, "Well, I'm being productive, so the next time I don't get cramps." Yeah, bananas help with cramps, but other than that, there's potassium pills in case you don't like bananas. Yeah, that's about it. Oh, grapefruit. During this last prep before my last competition, I come to love, well, I wouldn't say love, like grapefruits. At first, I never liked it. I hated the little tart taste when you eat it. So how I figured out how to get past the tart taste with grapefruit, you put them in the oven. You
In the
you bake
oven?
them for a little bit, yeah. So you bake them for a little bit. Like I would cut it into little slices and I would bake it until the top trim of the grapefruit turned black. So like it kind of bakes it in the oven, and then I would take sativa and I would sprinkle a little bit on the top of it. That kills the tart taste, and it makes it enjoyable. And the benefits of grapefruit is it kind of cleans out your system. So all the sugars and everything that you put into your body, it cleans it out. And if you're one of those persons that's hungry all the time or feel like, hey, when's the next meal or anything like that, grapefruit cures your appetite. So you won't be hungry all day. So you can eat a half a grapefruit and then you'll be like, oh, I feel good. I'm not hungry because it keeps you full and it also cleans you out.
Oh, that's some good facts. I did not know that about grapefruit. And I actually like grapefruit. I don't eat a lot of it, but I do like grapefruit.
Right.
Well, really, this interview is really about over with. I like everything that you have mentioned about everything. So, how do you feel overall since we had this interview together today?
I feel good. I'm like, there's a lot of more information that we can put out as far as fitness because every day is we learn something new or there's something out there that's healthy for us that may benefit the body. Not all fats are bad fats. A lot of people have that misconsumption. There's a lot of fats that's out there that's good for you that I have not even tried yet, like avocados. Been wanting to try it. A lot of people say it doesn't have a taste, but I haven't had it yet.
Well, avocados are really good. I like them now. They're good. So if you get a chance to try it, I advise you to try
Yeah, that's going to be one. It's on the list of many.
it. Well, you can mix it together like with your salad. You won't really know the difference.
Right.
So, um, well, I know you have like your own company. If you would like to go ahead and tell our listeners how they can reach you, that would be very good.
Yeah. You can reach me on Instagram at fitness_Ariel, and my account is open. You don't have to request and wait for me to accept you. All you have to do is hit that follow button, and I'll be right there. Any needs that you have, any questions, or whatever, anything I can help you with as far as fitness wise, nutrition, workout plans, I do it all. Just shoot me a message. I'm here to help.
Well, William, I enjoyed interviewing today on consulting between friends.
I appreciate you having me on.
Well, thank you. In conclusion, we have learned today from William Holmes what it takes to be a bodybuilder and compete in a well known competition. He has discussed what type of diet you need to have and how you need to exercise to compete in this sport. Also, how much time and effort it takes to achieve his goal and anybody else who wants to get to this level. So I hope everyone found this information very valuable to become a bodybuilder in a competition that is well known. One last thing, remember to support Black business owners and physical fitness. Thank you for listening to Consulting Between Friends. Consulting Between Friends is available on Google Podcasts and Spotify, as well other platforms that are available. So like and subscribe. Need to contact us and leave us a comment? You can find us on Instagram at Consulting the letter B Friends. Once again, Consulting B Friends on Instagram, and email address is consultingbfriends@gmail.com. Once again, consultingbfriends@gmail.com. Consulting Between Friends. Thanks to everyone for making this possible. Your host, Michael Holmes Jr. and co-host Shay R. Jones. The producer and content creator, Michael Holmes Jr. Artwork cover, Michael Holmes Jr. Original music, a DJ named Slash. Special guest, William Holmes. Content distributor, Power 77 Radio.